My father's voice came through the phone, sharp and commanding. "Where are you right now?" he demanded. I was at my in-law's place, surrounded by the chaos of my wife's birthday celebration. "The whole clan's here," I replied, balancing a plate of sweets for my daughter. His tone shifted, heavy with urgency. "Grab your daughter and leave, now." "Why?" I asked, confusion creeping in. "Just do it," he snapped, his voice carrying a weight I'd never heard before. "No questions." I didn't hesitate. I scooped up my daughter, ignoring my wife's call from the dining room about the unlit candles. My father's words echoed in my mind as I buckled my daughter into her car seat and peeled away from the house. The cool night air hit my face, but it did nothing to calm the storm brewing inside me. What happened next turned my world upside down. Chapter 1. The call asterisk. The party was alive with energy. Laughter bounced off the walls, glasses chimed, and the scent of spiced lamb and warm bread filled the air. My wife's family loved their loud gatherings, and this night was no exception. Her birthday brought everyone together, cousins, aunts, uncles, all packed into the house. I stood by the kitchen, holding a slice of cake for my daughter when my phone vibrated. It was Dad. He rarely called during family events, but something urged me to answer. "Hey, Dad," I said, stepping away from the noise. His voice was like a blade. "Where are you?" "At my in-laws," I said, glancing at the crowded room. "Everyone's here. What's wrong?" "Take your daughter and get out now." His words hit like a punch. "What? Why?" "Just do it," he said, his voice tight, almost trembling with intensity. "Don't ask, move." I didn't argue. I set the cake down, crossed the room, and found my daughter giggling with her cousins. "Come on, sweetie," I said, keeping my voice steady. "We're going for a quick ride." My wife's voice followed me. "Where are you off to?" "The cake's not even cut." I didn't respond. My father's warning pulsed in my ears. Outside, I strapped my daughter into the car, my hands shaking slightly. As I pulled away, I dialed Dad again. "I'm out. Now tell me what's happening." His next words made my hands grip the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. Chapter 2. The warning asterisk, drive to a public place, Dad said, his voice low but firm. "A gas station, a busy lot, somewhere with people. Don't go home, don't come to my place, and don't go back." I glanced in the rearview mirror. My daughter was staring out the window, humming softly. "Dad, you're freaking me out." "What's going on?" He took a breath like he'd been holding it for too long. "I just spoke to a contact in law enforcement. They've been investigating your in-laws for months. Fraud, money laundering, maybe more." My grip tightened. "What does that have to do with me?" "Your wife's name is tied to their accounts, and it looks like you're involved, whether you knew it or not. My contact said if you were in that house when they raid, you'd be swept up with them." My mind flashed to the laughter, the clinking glasses. It felt less like a party now and more like a trap. "So they planned this, to pin it on me?" Dad's silence was answer enough. "Get somewhere safe. I'll meet you in 20 minutes. We'll talk in person." I turned onto a brightly lit street, but in the mirror I noticed a black SUV tailing me. It was the same one I'd seen parked near my in-law's house earlier. My pulse quickened. It wasn't passing me. Chapter 3. The pursuit. The SUV's headlights bore into my rearview, closing the gap like a hunter tracking its target. "Dad," I said quietly, keeping my voice steady for my daughter's sake, "I think I'm being followed." "How close?" he asked, his tone sharp. "Too close." I switched lanes. The SUV mirrored me. "Listen," Dad said, his voice now clipped, almost military. "Don't speed, that'll attract cops. Head to a busy spot. Take routes only you'd know. Make them work to follow you." I signaled right, then veered left at the last second onto a narrow street. The SUV stayed with me, relentless. My daughter's voice piped up from the back. "Daddy, why are we going this way?" "Just a fun detour, sweetheart," I said, forcing a grin. My eyes darted to the mirror, scanning for an escape. Then I saw it, a 24-hour gas station buzzing with lights and people. I pulled in sharply, parking under the glare of security cameras. The SUV slowed as it passed the entrance, then kept going, vanishing into the night. I let out a shaky breath. "They're gone," I told Dad. "Good," he said. "Stay there. I'm almost with you. And when I get there, you're going to hear something that'll change how you see your wife's family forever." Chapter 4. The revelation asterisk. Dad's truck rolled into the gas station 10 minutes later, its headlights slicing through the fluorescent glow. He stepped out, scanning the lot before sliding into my passenger seat. "Move your car closer to the cameras," he said, pointing to a spot by the entrance. His voice carried the weight of someone who knew the cost of a single misstep. Once my daughter was settled in his backseat, Dad turned to me. They weren't just celebrating tonight, they were circling the wagons. My contact in financial crime said the warrants are signed. They're hitting your in-law's house tonight. Multiple agencies. Your wife's name is all over their documents. I stared at him. I had nothing to do with this. Doesn't matter, he said. They made it look like you did. Her signature's on joint accounts, but the paper trail points to you. If you'd stayed, they could have planted evidence, cash, papers, anything, to make you look guilty. My wife's distracted glances at the party flashed in my mind. Her father's overly warm smiles pressing drinks into my hand. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. Dad's eyes flicked toward the sound. That's them. They're moving in. I looked at my daughter, dozing in the backseat, unaware of the danger we'd just escaped. But I knew this was far from over. Chapter 5. The raid. The sirens grew louder, then stopped abruptly, replaced by the distant sound of slamming doors and shouted orders. From the gas station lot, I could see a faint red and blue glow in the direction of my in-law's neighborhood. Dad watched it, his face unreadable. They're surrounding the house now, he murmured. I pictured it. Agents in tactical gear storming the pristine lawn, battering down the door. The dining room, once filled with laughter and clinking glasses, now a chaos of commands and footsteps. I called a friend who lived nearby. He picked up, voice trembling. Dude, your in-law's place is like a war zone. Cop vans, unmarked cars, agents carrying out boxes. Your wife's out front, handcuffed, yelling at some detective. My stomach twisted. And the kids? They're okay with a female officer, but they're shaken. Dad's jaw clenched. You see why I called? I nodded. Every part of me wanted to rush over to demand answers, but I knew it would have been a mistake. If Dad was right, and the scene unfolding proved he was, going back could have landed me in a cell. My phone buzzed with a text from my wife. Whatever you've heard, it's not true. Meet me. Please, I stared at the message, a cold resolve settling in. I didn't reply. After tonight, I wasn't trusting anyone blindly again. Chapter 6. The exposure. By the next day, the story was everywhere. News channels blared. Local business family faces federal fraud charges. In Dad's study, my daughter coloring in the next room, he slid a folder across the desk. From Harris, he said, everything they have on your in-laws and your wife. Inside were bank records, wire transfers, and contracts, each one a stab to the gut. My wife's signature was on offshore accounts, shell companies, and deals that laundered dirty money. A section labeled Hayes Frame-Up stopped me cold. Forged loans and fake invoices, all in my name, tied me to their crimes. If you'd been there during the raid, Dad said, they could have claimed you were in on it. They were ready to let you take the fall. Betrayal hit harder than fear. My wife had smiled at me, kissed our daughter goodnight, all while weaving a web to destroy me. She thinks I'll still cover for her, I said. Dad leaned back. Then show her who she's really dealing with. I closed the folder. I wasn't just going to clear my name. I'd make sure she could never do this to anyone again. Chapter 7. Building the case. The next morning, I sat in Harris's office, going over every document, every forged signature, every account tied to my name without my knowledge. This clears you, Harris said, tapping the pile. But if you want to go further, we need to make it ironclad. She'll fight to save her image. Then we make sure she can't, I said. Step 1, public statement. Harris set up a formal statement through the DA's office, positioning me as a cooperative witness who helped expose the scheme. It was clinical, official, and shifted the narrative to me as the whistleblower. Step 2, legal pressure. My lawyer, Mark, filed a civil suit against my wife for fraud, identity theft, and emotional distress. It froze her remaining assets, tying them up in court. Step 3, social fallout. I discreetly shared the truth with trusted friends, letting public court records do the talking. Screenshots of damning documents spread through group chats, unraveling her carefully curated persona. I didn't contact her. Her texts shifted from defensive, "You don't know everything," to pleading, "Please, let's talk." But I was done with her story. The trap was set. All I had to do was wait for her to step into it. Chapter 8. The showdown. Asterisk. On a Tuesday afternoon, I spotted her in the parking lot after a meeting with Mark. She stood by my car, arms crossed, sunglasses hiding her eyes. "Daniel," she said, her voice soft but strained. "We need to talk, alone." "You know the rules," I said, keeping my distance. "Anything you want to say goes through my lawyer." "It's personal," she insisted, glancing around. "You have to believe me, I didn't mean for this to happen." I stayed silent, letting her squirm. Finally, she snapped. "They were going to take me down too. I thought playing along would protect me, but when you left, they turned on me. I need your help, Daniel." I almost laughed at the audacity. "You framed me for your crimes, and now you want my help." Her jaw tightened. "I could tell them things that make you look bad too." I stepped closer, calm. You mean the things Harris and the DA already have, the evidence tied to you? I handed her a folded paper. That's the notice of my civil suit, fraud, identity theft, damages. You'll get the full details by Friday. She stared at it, frozen. You can't. I can, I said, walking away, and I don't play games. She stood there, not the confident woman who once manipulated me, but someone realizing every door she'd controlled was now locked. Chapter 9, the final strike asterisk 2 months later, everything fell into place. The DA's case against my in-laws was rock solid, and my civil suit was unstoppable. But I wanted her reputation, built on lies, destroyed for good. Harris called. The press wants to release non-confidential evidence. If you agree, it's public. Do it, I said. Days later, headlines screamed. Fraud scheme exposed, husband targeted in setup. Her emails, forged contracts, and plans to undermine me were laid bare. Social media shredded her. Friends shared stories about betrayal, and her lavish lifestyle was exposed as funded by crime. The civil suit drained her finances. She sold her jewelry, car, and furniture to cover the first restitution payment. In court, she was ordered to pay full damages, barred from unsupervised contact with our daughter, and forced to issue a public retraction. She wouldn't meet my eyes as we left the courthouse. Dad was waiting by his truck. Told you, he said, clapping my shoulder. The truth always wins. I glanced at my daughter, laughing with my stepmother. He was right. The truth had set me free and left her with nothing but her own ruins. Epilogue. A new dawn a year later, the chaos felt like a distant memory. The lawsuits were done, payments were coming in, and my name was clear. I'd gone from a scapegoat to the man who brought down a criminal scheme. Life was simpler now. I kept my circle tight, my finances secure, and my daughter first. She was flourishing, better grades, more friends, her laughter free and easy, her mother. She worked part-time, lived in a modest apartment, her name forever linked to the scandal. Her court-ordered retraction lingered online, a permanent mark. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky, Dad joined me on the porch with coffee. That call I made, he said, was instinct, but you turned it into justice. I smiled, hearing my daughter's laughter from the yard. Sometimes, I said, the best revenge is living so well they can't touch you. That was the true victory, not just clearing my name, but building a life she could never take. Was this justice deserved? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you believe this story's outcome was fair, pass it along to someone who'd appreciate its fire. Subscribe to Lauren's Stories for more gripping tales of deception and triumph. Here, every lie meets its end and every betrayal casts a long shadow. Stay vigilant, stay resilient, stay tuned.